Slave Zero X is a 2.5 action game set in the world of Slave Zero from 1999, and it's a hack and slash or the run and slash type of game, if you want to call it that way. It released in February of 21st this year, last month. It looks really amazing, and I tried it out, made it all the way to the end, but disclaimer, I did not finish it, so I hadn't finished the game, and I'll talk about why I didn't finish the game. Yeah, first, before anything else, is hello and welcome. My name is Tora, and I'm gonna be doing a review of the Slave Zero X game that came out last month. I just want to say a disclaimer, this is my opinion, it's my thoughts, my feelings about the game. Doesn't mean the game is good or bad. It's just what I think about it, and hopefully you can make an educated guess on whether you can get this game or not. Okay? Are we good on that? So Slave Zero X does a lot of good things. The pixel art's great. The movement is really good, except for a few things here and there. The combat is great. Sometimes. The story is pretty good. I feel like the story and the art carry the game on its back. Like it breaks it, It's a cinder block on its back. But the gameplay itself, I'm gonna be talking about it, getting more into detail. So the pixel art is actually the reason I got this game. I saw the game and I was like, oh man, this game looks beautiful. It's a side scroller. I haven't had any bad interactions with games like this. So I went full in. I saw a couple of reviews from people. I read the Steam the review section down there, and it's all very positive. Right here, if I am gonna show you, if you look at Steam right now, right here it says, can you see the mouse? No, you can't see the mouse. Well, anyways, over here it says very positive. So I was like, very positive. That's really good. That's actually really good. So as of right now, the game actually looks really clean. Look at the art style. Look at everything. It's actually pretty good. So it's one of the reasons why I got into this game. I saw this video and I was like, Then I went down and I saw a bunch of reviews and whatnot that actually made me want to get this game. Great game. Honestly, for the little time I got to play this, it's so damn good. Fast paced. So emphasis on little time I got to play this. And I'm not one of those people that will say, oh, you need 50 hours to finish a game. You definitely don't. You definitely don't need 50 hours to actually feel good about a game. You don't need 50 hours to understand how a game should be and to give value to something. No. If you only play 2 hours and 3 hours of a game and you're not enjoying your 2 or 3 hours of the game that is just starting out, that it's supposed to be like, you gotta understand the beginning of a game is supposed to be good because it's supposed to grab you. It's like the first impressions you get of a thing. So it's very important to have a good impression. If you don't have a good impression, you're just gonna lose player base, right? And essentially lose money, because I don't know how the refund system is, but sometimes you can get your money back if you only played it for like an hour or two. So you're losing money. I feel the art style is carrying the game. It's actually doing really good. And it's one of the reasons why I bought this game. I am not a fan of the oil painting aspect of the cutscenes. The game looks amazing. The game looks great. And then in cutscenes, they do like this weird oil type of painting that reminds me of the old Final Fantasy art. You know what I'm talking about? It's like very fluid and the characters look all weird and stuff. But yeah, I can give them kudos, and I can give credit to the team because they did something new. It's not an overused type of art style, right? People usually go for either chibi type of art, retro type of art, or cel shaded. Nothing like this. very artistic. So kudos to them. The music in this game, amazing. Great soundtrack. Really good. Like I said, it carries the game. The art style, and when I say art style, that includes music because music is art. The art style is pretty good. Don't like the oil thing, the oil art. It's not my cup of tea, but that's just preference. By no means, some people like it. And if some people like it, that's great. Okay, just saying me. It's me, my experience, my opinions. I can say whatever I say. That's why I'm a huge fan of Hollow Knight. They try something different. It's like a hand-drawn type of art thing. It actually worked out really good, really great. Love it. Gameplay, amazing. Hollow Knight is one of my favorite Metroidvanias of all time. That opinion, that feeling still stands. I played a bunch of Metroidvanias. Hollow Knight's one of my favorites of all time. Character design, enemies, bosses, like I said, look great. It's very pretty to look at while you're playing. I have a thing with the movement. The jumping sucks. It feels very clunky, and the only good thing you have is moving left and right. That I don't mind. When you swing your sword, it's good. The animation looks clean. It looks very good. Fine. It's great. Amazing. But when you put platforming into a game that's jump, it's bad. It doesn't do well. It's not great. If the jumping, because the jumping feels like an afterthought. If the jumping was an afterthought in the game, why would you put an unfinished mechanic as a core thing in the game? There's this boss fight. You gotta fight Uriel. It's cluttered with things you gotta jump over. The jumping sucks. So sometimes you would get stuck on one of those obstacles. He would kill you. Sometimes you had to jump over ledges from left to right. Jumping sucks. So you're just stuck there for 10 minutes trying to make a simple jump. It shouldn't be that hard. It doesn't look that hard. It looks simple. It's not, because the jumping is bad. I have an issue with the combat in this game because the game over here on Steam, I'm gonna show you guys here. This on Steam over here. If you look over here, hello. All right. If you look over here, it says Spectacle Fighter, Hack and Slash, Beat 'em Up. Fine. I'm all fine with that. I don't mind that. I don't mind those descriptions. Let me move this over here. There you go. Now, I'm gonna zoom in into the description. Slave Zero is a stylish 2.5D character action game set in the biopunk world of Slave Zero, 1999. Great game, by the way. I played it. Super good. Run and slash your way through a dystopian future in this character action game, which will resonate with fans of Devil May Cry, Strider, Guilty Gear. You have 3 different genres of game. 3 in a 2D game. I'll tell you what it feels like. The jumping mechanics feels like the ones from Devil May Cry. The running around feels like Strider, so it's fast-paced. And you get juggled to death like in Guilty Gear. The worst things of every game. This game's got it. I don't understand. What was the point? What was the point of adding all these different type of genres together if you're not gonna execute them well? The combat in this game is good when it does it well, but when it doesn't, which is most of the time, you get juggled to death. So juggling is essentially a system that you get hit over and over and over and over. You don't touch ground, you don't recover, you're just there. You can't recover in the game unless you have a burst ability, and the burst ability is limited by a burst meter that you gotta build up. Don't make the game hard by using an unbalanced mechanic. Most of the time they throw 50 enemies at you. Most of the enemies got super armor, or they can just cancel out of the juggle themselves and grab you, and it's like you're dead. If that happens because there's other 50 enemies hitting you at the same time, you can't get out of it. And if you don't have a burst, you don't have a burst. The burst doesn't do a lot of damage. It just breaks the fight and pushes everybody away. But the enemies are still on screen. So it's very hard for you to get out of that situation.
Nah, fam. This dude. I can't get out of the corner. I can't get out of the corner. I can't get out of the corner. No. No.
I feel like the combat is very, very unbalanced. The dodging mechanic doesn't have sufficient iframes. I feel like it doesn't have sufficient iframes. Most of the time when I dodged, I timed my dodge correctly and I still got hit some of the times. Sometimes you would be behind the enemy, but the attack would hit you. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. The grab, sometimes that you would be like 50 miles away from it and the enemy would still grab you. So the hitboxes are kind of broken for a game that is a hack and slash, and it heavily depends on the combat, because that's the core thing of this game is combat. You just go around and combat. I don't know, it feels off. And most of the time I was just infuriated by the jumping mechanics and the juggling system in this game. You can either juggle them infinitely or you can get juggled infinitely, and it feels very cheap. I don't care for juggling enemies. I just don't care. But if you're gonna have a juggle system, make it so that the character can't get juggled infinitely to death. Like, I would have full health bar and I would get killed instantly by getting juggled and juggled and juggled by strong enemies that shouldn't even be there. They're worse than the bosses themselves. The upgrade system doesn't feel significant. I'm doing this review, I'm not trying to bash the game. I'm not trying to, bash the game. My heart is not in that. It's just, I paid $30, $25.99 plus tax, because, for an unfinished piece of content that tried to do a lot, and it did a lot, but it was poorly executed. And I am just tired of people releasing games that they weren't either tested right, or they're just too proud of their game to see its flaws. I have my guard up because there's a lot of very positive reviews for this game, when in fact there shouldn't be. The game is unfinished. The game feels like a fan game. There's fan games that are better executed than this games, and I played a lot of Sonic fan games. I played a lot of Pokemon fan games. I played a lot of Metroid fan games. This game feels unfinished, and you charged me almost $30 for this. I don't understand. I feel like they try to milk content by throwing overwhelming numbers of enemies with super armor that you can't hurt these enemies or stun them or juggle them unless you do a certain amount of damage to them, and most of the time you can't even get the damage in because you're overwhelmed by 20 other enemies in the arena. It's unbalanced. If you're gonna have an enemy with a super armor in it, don't throw 20 enemies too in there. You can throw 1, 2, or 3 more, but that's it. But sometimes they throw you 20 enemies in there, and it's never ending because they keep going and coming and going and coming, and then they throw another super enemy in there with super armor, and now you have 2 essentially bosses in there with 20 enemies. It sucks. I've had an easier time fighting bosses in this game than regular super armored enemies. It doesn't help. It's not good design. It's not good design. It feels unbalanced. And when a game feels unbalanced to the player base, I'm sorry to say it, but it's not a good game. I can't recommend this game. And I said this wasn't a good or bad game at the beginning. I get it. You said it's your opinion. It's me. It is. Shut up, man. Let's listen. For me, it's a bad game because I enjoyed it for the first 5 hours. Then I was just forcing myself. I was like, it was a dare. It was like somebody dared me to do it. You know how dares sometimes are not fun? You're just doing it because you want to win the $20. But instead of that, I was just wasting my life in here. I could have played something else. I could have gone back to Hollow Knight. This game did not scratch that itch. It didn't. For a while it did, and then it stopped. because the combat got too clunky and too unbalanced. So progression, fake progression. And they give you health upgrades and how fast you can charge your meter or your double trigger essentially, or your fatal fury thing, which is the meter where you go Super Saiyan. All it does is you attack faster and you get some health back. But the health that you gain back is negated because you get hit most of the time by enemies. So you essentially are not gaining anything. You're getting nothing out of that super thing. You just tear through enemies faster because you swing your sword faster. It doesn't matter because if your enemies got super armor, you still do scrap to them. So why would you have a mechanic where the game, it's supposed to make you stronger, but super armor enemies are unaffected by this attack? No, it's bad. It's a bad design. It's mediocre at best. All I can say is the story is good, not perfect, but it's good. Keeps you entertained. The art style of this game is really good. The soundtrack is really good, and that's it. That's the only thing this game's got going for it. At the end of the day, here's my thoughts. The game feels unfinished, feels clunky when it comes to movement, feels unbalanced when it comes to combat. The art and story carry this game on its back like its life depends on it. I really think this could be a gem if they fix everything that I just talked about. It's a really beautiful game, and when the combat is done right, it's done right, but most of the time it isn't. So it's unbalanced, and I cannot recommend an unbalanced and unfinished game because my morals won't allow me. So that's it. That's all I gotta say. If you don't believe me, I'm gonna show you guys a few of the user reviews here. Here, look at this. This guy went and did a whole essay on this. Look, but I'm just gonna read you the first three sentences. It says, the art and music team did a fantastic job for the game. It's probably worth a play, but that alone because it's incredibly stylish and cool. It's hard to convey just how hard the artists are carrying this game on their backs. Just like I said, the gameplay is rough to the point where it feels like an amateurish fan game, a random mishmash of fighting and action game mechanics with no coherence or sense, with absolutely baffling decision at times, and overall very tedious gameplay. Get this only if you have fun routing and figuring out open bore kusoge and love enemies with super armor. In other words, people just don't like that. So no. All right, let's go to the next one. Here, look. This one's never thought that such an idiotic progression blocker existed. Solid gameplay, but the game is bugged and poorly supported by developers. What did the developer say? Hi Rira, we are actively working on patches. Please consider updating your review to reflect that we are supporting the game and working on addressing bugs. Please look at this. Please consider fixing the blocker at the beginning of 4-1 before, maybe? Oh, you had it on your backlog. Sure. And a price discount is warranted. Okay, dude. Listen, you can't get discounts on everything. All right. But there's some positive reviews here. When you press, okay, there's this one that I read. Here it is, this one. This is an amazing game, and I would 100% recommend it to anyone who enjoys harder games, accelerating tough as nails, fast-paced gameplay that once you master it will feel like a demon for freeing humanity from its shackles of religion. It's not a harder game, and it's not accelerating tough as nails, fast-paced gameplay. Once you master it, it's not a harder game. A game is not harder because you overwhelm your player with a lot of enemies and unfair fights. It's not a harder game. It just makes the game unfair. I played Dark Souls multiple times. I've beaten Dark Souls multiple times. Dark Souls 2, which is a piece of garbage, but I love the game because it was my first Dark Souls experience. So I'm just biased at this point, but it sucks. It's the worst Dark Souls game ever, but I like it. So I beat that game. I beat Dark Souls 3 so many times. It's the best Dark Souls game ever. I beat Bloodborne more times than I can count. I've been Elden Ring more times than I can count. I went and beat Thymesia. I beat Hollow Knight. I've beaten most of the Metroid games. I've beaten most of the Castlevania games. I know a hard game when it comes to one. This game feels unbalanced and it feels unfair. That's it. That's it. If we go into the user reviews, let me go down here. Browse all 154. I saw an user review. I cannot emphasize enough how much I wanted to love this game. Here, I'll pull it up on the stream. There you go. I cannot emphasize. See, I cannot emphasize enough how much I wanted to love this game. I also wanted to make clear that as of writing, I haven't finished the game. I believe I stopped just before the Regent boss. Adore fighting games, especially spectacle fighters and sprite-based artwork. Conclusion in good faith. I have nothing but respect for everyone working at Poppyworks. I hope Slave Zero X becomes a huge success for them, but I can't ignore the frustration I feel with the encounter designs. Yep. And limited defensive options. The burst ability. I would love to see an update or revision that fixes these issues, but I understand if Poppyworks wants to move on to other projects, which the best for you all. The difficulty does not benefit from reused enemies. I don't mind when a game reuses basic enemies a lot. You gotta give the player stuff to give, but there is one particular mini boss that is so overused. I thought the game was spawning him by mistake. At the point I stopped playing, said mini boss was reused 8 times, and I know which one she's talking about. Anyways, there's a few reviews there. The game is very positive, and I get it. It's cool. I just don't know. I just don't know that it's worth. How much is it worth? I don't know if it's worth $25 for an unfinished game. I don't feel like it is. Anyways, would I recommend this game? I can't in good faith. I wanted to. When I first started playing this game, I had a lot of fun for the first few hours, but then on my way to, I think it was the stage before the last one, I couldn't get past a stupid encounter that had 2 mini bosses. They were unfair, and I just stopped. I rage quit at the end of it, and I don't know if I'm going back into the game until I fix the bugs and stuff. It's unplayable for me, but some people like it, like I said. So you do what you must. You just do what you must. Anyways, I've been rambling for a long time. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.